Welcome to Coast Vue, the show that every single day celebrates the men and women who are making coastal Mississippi such a great place to live, work, and play. Hey, this past Monday, I shared a quote from John Glenn that fit the conversation that we were having about the Outdoor Stewardship Trust Fund that's going to be a generational effort in Mississippi since it was passed by the legislature and signed last year by the governor to really do in significant investments into the outdoor enjoyment in the state. And I had a conversation with Ricky Flint, the new executive director for the Stewardship Trust Fund, who had worked in the department for so many years. But I shared this quote from John Glenn that kind of fits so well. It actually is kind of a theme of Coast Vue. And here's what John Glenn said. We are more fulfilled when we are involved in something that is bigger than ourselves. Isn't that true? That's so true. And I had the opportunity to talk to so many people here on Coast Vue who believe that really in their heart and soul. My friend Adrian Elliott posted something from a website called Finding Joy. And I thought it was terrific. And here's the name of it is Pause. And here's what it says. Pause for just a second, a moment, and be grateful. Even if life isn't perfect, be thankful for the life you get to live, for the stories, for the adventures, and for those you are blessed to love. Pause. You know, Adrian is such a great role model. She came on my show a few months ago and told her story of her bout with breast cancer and how she dealt with it, urging other women to go get early screening and to really pay attention to that. It was a very courageous conversation. I just enjoyed having that conversation with my friend Adrian. And I'm actually pleased now to have her husband, Brandan Elliott, on. And we're going to talk about the latest at Elliott Homes. We're going to talk about the St. Jude Dream Home and whatever else is on Brandan's mind. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Hey, you saw how I started the show, this thing that Adrian posted about pausing, but that's literally her approach to life, isn't it?
It's amazing. Yeah, she's incredible. She's got a lot of wisdom, and she really looks at life from a different perspective. It's exciting to live with her and get to have the opportunity to hear that every day. And we've actually put that into the culture of our company as well, where we come up with this thing called Purpose Day, where our entire company shuts down everything for one day a month. And we teach, believe it or not, our team how to take a day off. And it is kind of around what you just read.
Yeah, that is so special. I'm really believe in Adrian and was so pleased to have her tell her courageous story here on Coast Vue. Listen, you and I have had wonderful conversations in the past on a wide range of subjects. But the last time we talked about Elliott Homes and some strategic realignment that you're doing with your company. Why don't you kind of update us on how that's going and also kind of give me a sense, remind people what the conversation was about?
Yes, so the world has changed so much since COVID, and a lot of people didn't realize it until interest rates started going up. But inflation has reduced our ability to spend money. And a lot of the best businesses now have been pivoting for about a year, seeing the values of the consumer change. And, you know, if you look at the role of any business, it's to fill a need, it's to fix a problem. And the problems that we face today in society are different than what we had a year ago. And so businesses, no matter what sector they're in, are looking at new ways to ensure that they're still bringing value to the consumer and improving society. And for us, we face a national affordability crisis today as a nation. And luckily, we're in the lowest cost of living beachfront community in the entire country. So we see our region as a solution to a national crisis, and we see Elliott Homes as a big part of that. And so we've pivoted to ensure that we're bringing a product to the consumer that they can afford, that still improves the quality of life, that doesn't impact negatively the neighborhoods surrounding, and also can grow our coast.
So what that meant was that you were not focused entirely on selling homes. Tell more about that.
So literally last year in April, we stopped everything as a company for 3 whole months. And, you know, our overhead is $1.5 million a month as a company. So that was a very expensive proposition to make a decision to literally stop everything. And the reason we did that was our business got so complicated with the options and the SKUs and everything that we offered, and affordability was going through the roof. People just couldn't afford it anymore. And so we looked at it and we said, holy cow, we've got to completely reinvent our product and our systems and the simplicity in our model. And we stopped everything, rebuilt it all from scratch, and rolled it out last June. And it's really shown that the decision that we made was spot on, because this year's been fantastic for us. We've gotten a lot of great feedback from our customers that no longer could afford our product last year in third and fourth quarter of 2022.
So what does the new company look like?
So it's exactly the same. Our product is still the same. We've got much nicer subdivision entrance monumentation coming up. We build a little bit differently. We don't have options any longer, but we included every option that our buyers always wanted. So we surveyed them and said, what options do you want? And they gave us that list, and literally we put it in the product, and that's what we've rolled out. So we've made it much easier for the trades, for the supply chain, which has been a complete disaster, frankly, since 2021. And we're ordering material by the container load. So we're able to get a better price on it, and we just pass that cost straight along to the consumer. We've lowered the price of our homes, and we've also lowered the cost because of that. And then it's allowed people to be able to afford a home that they came to not when interest rates got up to 6 and 7%.
So when you analyze the supply chain these days, and of course, the average person probably didn't think much about supply chains prior to COVID, and then suddenly supply chains around the world were abruptly changed dramatically. How do you evaluate sort of the supply chains that are supplying you guys these days?
So it's really interesting, our cycle time, which is the time that it takes to build a house, increased by 38 days a year and a half ago, which is not good for anything. I mean, from a business standpoint, it's not good. From a customer satisfaction standpoint, it's not good. From a trade base, I mean, it's just all in all, it's a lose proposition. And that had to do with, 1 minute you have windows, the next minute you don't. 1 minute you have carpet, the next minute you don't. And it was impossible. So what we decided to do was we pre-order all the materials 6 or 8 months in advance, and we stock it, kind of like a manufacturer in a lot of cases. So we ensure we know exactly how many sticks of lumber go in every house, and we've reduced that cycle time, which is better for the customer, better for the trades, better for us as a company. And so what happened really was demand got so high right after COVID, which manufacturing supply reduced because of COVID. And then we had we've got such low unemployment that it's also reduced the workforce. So people are unable to find work, and demand is even higher than it's ever been. And it was like all signs pointed to kind of a crisis. And it takes years to get out of that crisis. It's not just snap your fingers and things come back. The Fed has raised rates to try to slow down the economy a little bit so supply could catch up. And frankly, I know this is weird to say from a builder standpoint, but they've done a great job doing that, because it has slowed things down. Inflation's come down. Supply is starting to catch up, although it hasn't. We're still going to be in an affordability crisis for years to come. And so good businesses are looking at simplifying their business model and their supply chain so that they can deliver a good product on time to the consumer.
What's interesting for people who don't think much about this, for someone who's just trained in business, and I have an MBA, and you spend a lot of time thinking about inventory management and just-in-time inventories. I mean, the whole world is going to a just-in-time inventory approach, which is essentially you don't need it, you don't get it until you need it, and you get it exactly when you need it. And what happens is, for the economy to work like that, so that so many businesses are focused on just-in-time inventories, man, it's got to be humming. If anything abruptly changes anything, suddenly you don't have a just-in-time inventory anymore. You're waiting now. And I know you covet the days you can get back to a just-in-time inventory, but the way to solve that problem for you was we're gonna create our own supply and inventory it ourselves so that we don't have it. Which meant you had to standardize some things. You had to really think this thing through, didn't you?
Yes. So we went from 92,000 variable SKUs as a company to 800. So we simplified the model in a huge way. And everything about the efficiency and the delivery is 50 times better than it was a year and a half ago. So although people don't have choice, a lot of things that people just want today is a place that they can afford and to not completely drain their bank account every time they have to make a mortgage payment. So we looked at that, also following our brand, but then also the opportunity that we have as a Coast. And a lot of our marketing has changed. Where we used to market to local people, 60% of the home buyers today are from out of state. So we're a great opportunity here for people from other regions.
Wow, that's so interesting. And I think one of your hallmarks is looking at your design. You have a good handle on design. You understand what people want, and sort of that clean way I would describe is sort of casual elegance. That's the way I see a lot of what you build. But anyway, when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Brandan Elliott. We'll talk about the St. Jude's home and whatever else is on Brandan's mind these days. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to Coast Vue. I have my friend Brandan Elliott with us from Elliott Homes. In just a few seconds or minutes, we'll be talking about the 2023 St. Jude Dream Home. But before we do that, I mentioned that during the last segment that you're not completely just focused on selling homes. There's actually a whole array of your offerings now that it doesn't involve actually purchasing a home. Tell me more about that.
Yes, so there's a really interesting trend happening today with new demographics and the work from home segment, which is 34 million people nationally, where they're working from home, they're not going to the office, and the younger generation really doesn't want to settle. You buy a new home, and it's a 5-year hold before you can break even at a normal appreciation. Not given the last 2 years, but we're seeing that a lot of people now coming down, especially younger generations, will never buy a home. So we're building entire communities and we're keeping them to lease to them. And, in traditionally, when you think of a rental home, you think of lower end or something like that. And this is very different. It's more like a resort. We've got higher end homes, same product of houses that we're selling. It's maintained by professional maintenance companies every week. So really nice looking curb appeal, same entrances, same finishes, everything. And except we're intentionally keeping entire communities and leasing to these younger generations. And what we're seeing is it's allowing people to come and try out the Mississippi Gulf Coast. You always hear the term the secret coast, and it's a great tagline for who we are. And because a lot of people just don't know about us. And so they're allowed to come here in a home that's, high end quality, nice finishes. They don't have to worry about maintenance and all that. And anywhere between 1,400 square feet and 2,600 square feet homes. And they can test out the Mississippi coast and see if they like it. And in a place that has what we have, we're seeing that a lot of those people are converting to move here as well. So it's a great build for the region.
Hey, Brandan, my son Jordan Matthews is with Schwartz and Orgler in Jordan and does a lot of real estate business. And he mentioned to me that there's a large number of people who are coming in here from other areas. And, when I asked, for example, has you seen that has the higher interest rate really impacted them greatly? He said, well, a high number of closings we do these days are cash deals for someone who's moved into this area. How much of that are you seeing?
There's a lot more cash. Yeah, it's gone from about 5% to probably 30%. And if it's not cash, there's much higher deposits than we've seen traditionally. So, one of the things that people keep hearing is real estate housing prices are going to drop and that sort of thing. And when you think about it, drop from what? From being 60% higher than the actual value on the West Coast a year ago. But if you compare it to 2009, there's still tons of equity in houses. There's still a lot of opportunity for people to sell and bring cash out of their home and bring it down here. So if you look at the top 5 GTA average price points in the country, it's $670,000. So 35% of the entire U.S. population, their average price point is $670,000. So when interest rates went up 3%, it cost them about $3,300 a month additional payment. If you look at the Mississippi Gulf Coast, our average price point is $212,000. So when prices went up from 3 to 6.5%, it cost us $870 a month. So the impact was much smaller. So they can still buy the same home here in our market for less than they could buy the same home in their market, the top 5 GTAs, at 3.5%. So we're a great resource. We're a great solution to people that want a home that they can afford. And a lot of people are having young kids, the millennial generation now, and you don't want to live in a 1,000 square foot apartment paying $3,000 a month with two little kids running around. It gets old fast. So,
yeah, I have my parent company for Knight Ridder, the former owner of the Sun Herald, was in San Jose, and I remember this is just as the .com thing began to take off in Silicon Valley. And a home there, 1,000 square foot home there, was like $400,000. Same home here would have been $100,000 back in that day. That same home today is worth $1.5 million, or maybe even more than that. It's incredible what has happened in some of these big cities. But the reality is, us being an affordable beach community, and the fact that the pandemic put on steroids this notion that remote work is real and people can live. Some can live wherever they want to live. And so, we're really, I think, the key, as we've discussed before, the key to attracting those kind of people is that you got to build the kind of communities they want to live in. And if you do that, they will come. And you've seen that, haven't you?
Yeah. We give them amenities that they want. Like we've started, we're going to be incorporating pickleball courts into our age-targeted communities. That's an up-and-coming sport. We love the health aspect of that and people staying active as well. It fits into the brand of Elliott Homes a lot. We try to have an extra bedroom for an office, or at least a workspace built into the homes, because that's not even a nice to have anymore. That's a need to have now. And so things like that are changing. The low maintenance of things. I know we've always looked at small lots here as a negative. We tend to see small lots and think small quality, but that's not the case. Small lots now are a need for people. They don't want large lots because having to maintain yards and whatnot is starting to change. And with some of the parks and the beaches and what we have here as a coast, a lot of people would rather use that as a yard rather than have to cut grass all day on the weekend. So
there's no doubt about it. Listen, you and I talked about your commitment to St. Jude. This is a multi-year, it's very, very significant effort. This year's 2023 St. Jude Dream Home is no exception. How's that going?
It is amazing. I am so proud of our team. We have had a goal. This is our 8th St. Jude Dream Home. We have had a goal since we started to raise net $1 million to any charity, and we're going to do it this year. So we've donated the home with our trades and our team and the incredible effort. Just unbelievable people we have. And we're at, I think, about 7,000 ticket sales now. We have 3,000 more to go, and it will sell out for sure. It does every year. And we will be the first home in the history of our state to the highest donation, but to ever donate $1 million net towards the fight against childhood cancer. And the cause is just unbelievable. I can't even explain to you the impact that it has on so many people's lives.
Yeah, there's so many different aspects to it too, incidentally, as this evolved. But this notion of having the dream home floor signed, what you're talking about, literally building into the soul of the house a major heart. And you see that and feel that, don't you?
One of the things, the purpose of Elliott Homes is to create a place where life gets better. And one of the things that we realize, to live our purpose as an individual, we have to understand where our mark is left. And so leaving a mark on the world, on society, on what we've done, whatever it is a big part of filling our hearts as individuals. So the floor signing is a way to look at the contribution that we've made as a team, which you said earlier, to live purposely, we have to be a part of something larger than ourselves. We have to have a greater sum than us as individuals. And so it allows us to look at what we've done as a team, our contribution as an individual, and put our own words, our own mark, whatever we want on the floor of the home. And then we cover it up after, and that stays with that home forever. So it's a really fun event, and it's a great way for people to leave their mark on what, especially this year, is going to be the single highest donation we've ever seen in our state to St. Jude from the Dream Home.
And you're selling 10,000 tickets. The St. Jude Dream Home has 10,000. How many tickets do you have left?
We have either 2,500 or 3,000 left. Yeah, and every ticket is a full donation. 100% of it goes towards the fight against childhood cancer. And there's more than just the home. You can win a car and a home full of furniture, and I think a vacation. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different trips that they draw for, and a lot of people don't know that. So
yeah, that's awesome. Well, okay, in the short time we have left, I mean, you do it every year. What keeps you going?
So I'll tell you, we used to actually get asked all the time for donations as a company. Every business does. And all these non-for-profits and all these companies try to raise money, and they have fantastic causes. And so one year we looked at our donations, which we made hundreds of them, and we said, what did these donations do? What impact? So instead, we decided to step back and say the donations that we give to charities have to be maximized by what we do, so we can take our potential and maximize it as much as we can. And when we looked at St. Jude and the Dream Home, we're a home builder. We've got the resources of trades. We've got the resources financially with us and our trades as well, and other people. And so we can take maybe a $350,000 contribution, which is the lot and the home and all the work that goes in it, and we can turn that into $1 million. And so we saw that as the best way to actually maximize our contribution to society. And when you look at, to build the strongest community, it takes businesses, non-for-profits, and government. And we all have to be in sync, and we all have to be aligned toward creating a place where life gets better, really. And so we really aligned with St. Jude, and we saw firsthand the impact that it has on many children and their families. And so we decided to lock onto that. And I tell our team every year, building one St. Jude home is like building 30 homes, but it's worth it.
You came here with the Seawolves, and we have probably less than a minute left. Have you been to any games?
Yes. I was there a few weeks ago. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Lots of fights in those games. It's exciting.
That used to be you.
That's right.
Anyway, it's been a pleasure to visit with my friend Brandan Elliott from Elliott Homes. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, Ricky.
You bet. When we come back, we'll be visiting with Amber Olson. We'll see you after this break.